Welcome, Gemini, to your in-depth weekly forecast for week commencing the 18th of December for the Sun or the Ascendant. There's going to be a lot of attention on your 8th house this week, quite rightly, because we have the winter solstice. The Sun travels into the sign of Capricorn, joining up in a spectacular way with your ruling planet Mercury in a cazimi, an exact conjunction. This sees the Sun warm up and amplify despite the host sign Capricorn being a bit on the cool side. It warms up the energy of Mercury, which of course is very much to do with talk and thought, but in the 8th house, very analytical. So that is understandable. But if we just go back to the start of the week, your 10th house, where Neptune has been since 2012, streamy, drifty, mystical, sometimes confusing, beguiling, but also the strict and authoritative Saturn since March, well, they're going to have quite the impact at the start of this week, because if you recall on the new moon last week, in your sector of relating, but also where you set your boundaries, where you compete, the 7th house in Sagittarius, that was being impacted by a square to Neptune. And there may be one situation, it could be professional, or maybe it's to do with a relationship where there's a little bit of confusion about who's leveraging power or control. It may be very subtle, but that influence lasts just for 2 days and is just going to melt away, which will be a good thing. But if you have been feeling a little bit uncertain about what your role is in one key relationship, that particular aspect could have been part of why. But Mercury, despite its retrograde, can actually really help you this week, because it's forging a very influential link with the stern Saturn. And because Mercury is diving deep, it's got its detective mac on in the 8th house, whereas the beguiling energy of Neptune can distort and delude, Mercury's determined to get to the bottom of what's what. And because Saturn's there as well, I feel by really sticking with the facts and not letting an emotional dimension or people's instincts get too much in the way, it's really using your air logic to the best effect. You can actually start to build up a picture and express yourself in a very clear and on point way despite Mercury's retrograde. But of course, Mercury retrograde in the 8th house could mean around the business situation there is going to be some kind of revision or shared finances, or it could be to do with an investment. But the structural energy of Saturn there is very supportive and provides an anchor. May not completely offset any issues, but can help you to find the solutions if any come up. But also this is a week when Venus is in an opposition with Uranus. But Uranus is in your 12th house and has been having quite the impact. Perhaps seeing you a bit on edge at times, maybe finding it difficult to sleep over the last few years. But this opposition with Venus could tease into the open something around a relationship factor, even that someone likes you or is attracted to you, possibly through work, but maybe it hasn't been verbalized, either the issue or the attraction. So that's going to be fascinating, and that reaches a peak on Thursday. But then on Friday, the Sun joins up with your ruler Mercury and the tiny but influential Pluto in Capricorn with the winter solstice, ushering in the last of the 4 cardinal quadrants, so the next 13 weeks of the astral calendar, bringing it to a close. Because Mercury is applying to the Sun in such a perfect way, your ability to, be very canny, to decipher what's really meant, not necessarily what's said, and that wisdom that comes with it, because Saturn is also feeding into this event as well, suggests that even if there were some cross wires early in the week, not because of Mercury, because of Neptune, you may get to a point of understanding that pleases you. But then again, you may get to the point where you feel, I can't solve this, and then on Saturday Mercury inverts back into your opposite sign. And really right through to the 13th of January there may be a conversation, some dialogue that needs to continue to occur. So I feel you could reach a total point of satisfaction this week and feel it's all clarified, or you may feel that you've set your stall out, you've done your very best, and as we know, communication does not equal comprehension. So we can speak, whether someone hears where we're coming from is something completely different. And maybe in a more romantic context, if there has been some pressures and tensions, as there often are at this time of year, maybe the retrograde of Mercury back into your sector of relating means that there is a little bit more to think about between now and particularly the new year, when Mercury goes direct on the 2nd of January. But I have to say, as the year comes to a close, Mercury will be aligning with Mars in your sector of relating, and it will be clashing with Neptune. So Neptune, very influential. I feel that the winter solstice and Mercury retrograde will get all of the publicity, but do be aware of your connection to the world, anything to do with your professional situation and professional relationships. That's where try to be as businesslike, even brusque as possible, to keep things very much focused on the factual side of things. Almost like in the tarot, be thinking very much about the Ace of Swords, slicing through, not getting too caught up in the emotion of situations this week. If you would like to ascend above this zodiac broadcast and understand what serious astrology can do for you, if you give me 3 pieces of your personal birth data, time, date and place of birth, I can produce for you your personal astrology forecast for 2024, but also my special package. You'll get your character analysis, your life roadmap report, which can help you to get much more aware of the patterns that are played out in your life so far, but a much more intimate understanding of how to deal with them future forwards. But also in my special package, you can get your zodiac forecast for year 2024, your Chinese forecast, and your Indian Vedic forecast from Aries through to Pisces for all 12 signs, absolutely free of charge. Please see the link beneath this video to order.